Hello, and welcome to the Digital Experience Team's sprint planning meeting for this week, March 1st, and the iteration cycle. So first up, looks like Tyler will be talking about some items.
Yeah, I'm going to grab the pricing calculator, gonna move that across the finish line. I'll have to get up to speed and get everything going, but down to do it and feeling good about that. Up next is more work on the new blog template. So Lauren and I are going to be working this together, and we've got a few things to do. We have to do some additional scoping, so we'll probably be breaking this out into additional issues, which we have yet to do, but I've put some thoughts about what those will probably look like. I think we'll be able to finish the bulk of it in this iteration. I imagine anything that's like outstanding afterwards will be a lot of the cleanup items in terms of like documentation or like just like smoothing out some of the integration stuff with about.gitlab, but I'm feeling good about the bulk of it. And then I do not have an agency task this week. So the other thing I'll be doing is fixing our Slack bot that was checking in like halfway through each iteration before. That should be a quick task, I think, and I'll just do that early this week, probably today. We like closed out one or two of the Slack channels, and it was attached to one of those. So I think we just need to like reattach it to the right one. And I'll probably just have to figure out like how to scope it down to digital experience specifically. I imagine I can just give it a list of names. So yeah, that's what I've got slated up. And then of course, MR reviews and assorted troubleshooting throughout. So up next, Brandon.
Yeah, so thank you for that. I will be working on a couple of things, but I am also going to be out for half of this sprint. So it'll be a short cycle for me. So I'm going to assist with the Typeform project, where we'll be, going through and implementing a survey on the topic landing pages, or the survey won't be on those pages. There'll be a CTA from those pages to the survey. Helping out with that. Lauren volunteered to engineer that. More on that later. And then I have a Marketo workshop later in the week that I'm planning for us engineers. So that'll be great. And then I'll be catching up on my merge request reviews from last week. So that'll be me this iteration cycle. And yeah, up next is Tina.
Thanks. I'm going to get my head back into the commit project. So I'm going to connect with the appropriate folks and start planning UX for commit events page template to be hopefully integrated into the CMS. We're also going to be creating some user journeys for free trial page prospects for this quarter. So I'm going to be planning for that in a working session with Michael today. To see what we need to do for the rest of this iteration. I'll also be wrapping up card UX this sprint to be integrated into Slippers, which I'm pretty excited about wrapping up. And lastly, I'm just going to release the block templates that I created for cross-functional page requests this week with a how-to video and figuring out how to get that into the handbook. That's it for me. Next is Laura, but will somebody be speaking for her? Or?
Sure. I can just go over it quickly.
Sure.
She's she's currently driving somewhere at the moment, but she has noted that she can work on some of the Slippers elements, such as checkboxes and grid stuff. I believe she was already working on that, so kind of wrapping that up. And then also the solutions page template and some spacing issues with Slippers basically bringing things up to date. With our kind of interim solution. So yeah, up next is Javi. I think might be muted.
I am muted. That would probably help. All right. Hello. I'm working on items for Slippers UI, making sure that we are kind of resolving spacing disparities between the two repos. What's end up happening is we've had this whole discussion on like how to name Slippers utilities for both margin and padding. And I think that we've come to a solution for that. So I'm going to be working on that, and I will be making a Canva contribution to that to make that very clear. We're also going to be working on some agency stuff, which is very exciting because it's giving me an opportunity to implement some of these other global elements that exist along all of our pages within Slippers, which is exciting. This will also lead to the creation of some cards, which, again, more things to be built out in Slippers UI. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see that I just asked like this morning, like, hey, like, what is the thing that needs to go out by when? And they were just kind of saying, hey, like, we're flexible. Like, this is something that doesn't need to go out. So I thought it would be a good opportunity for us to build some of that stuff out. That's it for me. Up next is Jess.
Hey, so this week I'm going to be working on the designs for the navigation. I did some research over the last 2 weeks, which I'll try and put a video out for today. And I'll be using that research as a foundation for the new designs. And then we also have these highlighted partner pages coming along. Stephen worked on a template for it last week. And once that template is like good to go and we have the content, we can start putting in the individual partners. So this is just an example of AWS, but there's 5 different partners. And I have a feeling like once the first one gets done, the next second, third, fourth, fifth is going to be a lot easier. So we'll just kind of take those in as the content comes in. And Lauren's next.
Okay, so for this iteration, I'll be working on updating the brand messaging across the marketing site. I think we're going to identify 10 to 25 pages and tweak some messaging on that. I'll be working with Tina to implement Typeform quiz. And there'll be a template and a way that people can self-serve, launch that on the website. I'll be deploying the rest of the child topic page migrations that Sanmi worked on last week. Last week, Tyler launched the rollup, got migrated to Webpack, and that's awesome. And we have a follow-up issue for just monitoring that release and fixing the edge cases that come up. So I'll be keeping an eye on that. We have an issue to implement a SEO title in addition to the title for topics pages. So I'll add that field to our CMS data files and template. And then I'll be working with Tyler on implementing the new blog post. And then there's an issue to volunteer digital experience team for another group conversation. So I'll get the ball rolling on that so we can lead another one. And something I noticed last week that was bugging me is there's a weird instance where an HR element will display on top of resources on our topics template if there's just one resource type. So just fiddle with that logic and fix that up. All right, next person, SMG.
That's me. As Jess has said, the template for the partners page, where if there's any further work on that, there's some blocks and some general bug fixes within Figma that I need to work on. Discovered a plugin that can help us convert pixels to rems. So that's something that we're going to look into a little bit more. There was another plugin that had great reviews, but it disappeared, so I can't find it anywhere on the internet. Adding our hex values to our colors so it's easy for people to see, adding inline links to Figma because we have these existing in code already, add our confetti components or elements to Figma, and then there is a ongoing discussion around tokens and how that can work with the brand and with the product itself. That takes place tomorrow morning, so working on that as well. And next is Sammy.
Thank you, Steven. Yes, so I'm going to be working on the partner overview page. Our partners page, we're going to be updating it from the old existing group that is awesome to a very, very, very way much more awesome page. So the Figma file is right here and the existing page link is here. So during this sprint, I'm going to be working to provide us this lovely, beautiful UX that was designed by Jessica So the second thing that I'm going to be working on is the existing chat topics migration. So I want to update the canonical part for some of the existing merge requests so that it's going to be easy for Lauren to quickly match the merge request since Brandon will be out of office for half of the sprint. And the last thing that I'm going to be working on is the YouTube tracking for our on Google Tag Manager. When the video is playing in the pop-up, it does not track the interaction of that video. So I'm moving it to my agency day task, and we'll also be working on some other tasks that are going to be coming up during the sprint. I think that's it for now. Over to Brandon.
So thank you, everyone. That wraps up our planned work for this sprint. Let me know if you have any questions and find us on Slack. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone. I feel like having an idea of pointing and getting a lot of that done async beforehand worked pretty well this sprint. Of course, feel free to give me any feedback. And yeah, looking forward to good work in a couple weeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Awesome. Thanks,
Take it
everyone.
easy.
See you.
Thanks everyone.
Yeah.
Later.
Thanks, Tyler.